Modern Alchemy, episode number
53.
53. Have you been following along over the last several weeks? And it's been quite a journey, hasn't it, Bersabeh?
Yes, it has.
We have been covering the 7 environments of alchemical transmutation. And this episode brings us to the very last episode of Environmental Alchemy. Are you happy?
I don't know.
So it's been a journey. Just to recap, in case you haven't caught all of them, and you can always go back and catch up, there are 7 environments, and do you remember what some of those are, Bersabeh? I know it's been a long one for all of us.
Yes, we had relationships, spirituality, your personal environment, physical environment.
You're doing well. Just keep on. You're on a roll.
Thank you. Psychological environment.
The environment that most people think about when they think about environment.
Psychological.
Nature.
Oh, nature.
Outside, outdoors. And that brings us to the final environment, which is network. Your network. And this is a really important one. They all are. What does network include, Bersabeh?
It includes the circle of people that you're around.
That's right. Customers. Clients.
Same thing, no?
No, customers are one-time, clients are ongoing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, colleagues.
That's how I define it anyway.
Colleagues, team members.
Vendors, clubs, the communities you're part of, associations, charities. And we'll talk briefly about the concept of 6 degrees of separation. Mm-hmm. So please remember, the reason that environment is important is because willpower, even if you're the most willful person in the world, willpower is off and on.
Environment's 24/7.
Environment is 24/7. It never turns off. So what you surround yourself with and immerse yourself into is 24/7, and it cannot not have an effect upon you. And remember, everything counts. There is no neutral. Nope. Everything is either moving you forward or it's holding
you back.
That's right. It's holding you back. So let's just start with customers and clients. Do customers and clients affect you, Bersabeh?
Yes.
How so?
Well, if you're having interactions with them daily, they affect you.
Yeah. Have you ever had a customer or a client that is more pain than pleasure?
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes. And does that affect you?
Yes, of course.
Of course it does.
I'm human.
Yeah, you are definitely human.
Yes.
Have you ever fired a client?
I have fired a client.
You have? Yeah, I have done that many, many times. I mean, one of the commitments that Bersabeh and I have made in our business is that if someone comes into our network, or we could also call that the community, and is toxic to that community, then we will just say, hey, we love you, we wish you the best, and it's probably not in your best interest or ours to continue. Yep. Because it's like a cancer.
Yes.
You know? If you have a cancer in the body, what do? You
get it out.
You get it out. You don't go, well, let's just give it time. No. So customers and clients, part of your network and transmutation of that is the art and science of alchemy. Mm-hmm. How about vendors? People who are your suppliers and vendors, do they affect you?
Yes, they do.
Can you think of a time? I can certainly think of a time. I've been in business a little bit longer than you.
Just a tad.
Can you think of a time where a vendor was so difficult to work with that even if they're good, they're just not worth it?
Oh, yes.
I'm. You know what's coming up for me is some of those so-called marketing experts we've worked with.
Yeah, not fun.
Not fun. Who made a lot of promises and produced very little to no results, and so on and so forth. So even your vendors, who are you working with? Who's part of your network? Even if they're good, if they're not in the right space, they're not worth it. Mm-hmm. Does a gym in which you work out in affect you and your energy and your psychology?
Oh, for sure.
For sure. It definitely does.
You get somebody walking around slamming things all the time.
Yeah.
not fun.
Yeah, it's not, or
Or they think they're in a filming studio.
a filming studio.
It's not a filming studio.
There's a lot of those these days.
It's a place where you go to work out.
It's a place where you work out. It's not really a place to have conversation either.
It's not the coffee bar.
It's a place to get the job done.
It's not the cafe.
Yeah, right. I'm on a schedule here. We've got things to do besides be here. You remember, we know we have one acquaintance in our gym who said, she was saying good morning one morning, and I said, yeah, I'm really in a hurry, and she goes, yeah, I've got a lot to do today, and I just need to get out of here as long as I can not talk so much to my gym friends.
Gym friends.
And I said, I know, that's why I don't.
Therein lies in the problem.
Therein lies the problem. Gym friends. I said, I don't talk to gym friends, and she goes, oh, I like my gym friends. Okay. Yeah. So again, your environment always impacts you. Charities, clubs, associations that you're part of, they even move you forward or they hold you back. Mm-hmm. And then there's this idea of 6 degrees of separation. Do you know what that concept is, Bersabeh?
6 degrees of separation, like you're connected to every single person in the world by 6 people that 6 people out.
Right. Do you remember years ago there was a game called 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon? Did you ever hear about that?
No.
You probably didn't.
Kevin Bacon,
had supposedly, the game was that Kevin Bacon had been in so many movies that you could trace him to any other person within 6 people or less. And that's the whole concept of 6 degrees of separation, that you're connected. And so what would be important to realize if you understand that this is actually true, and I can't prove that it is, but if it is true that you're only 6 people away from anyone in the world, what would be important for you to do regarding your network?
You got to pay real close attention to who you are connected to.
Bingo. You want to be in a network that is most likely as similar as possible to the network of the people that you want to network with. Mm-hmm. And that's just simple. I know it's just simply not applied, but it's got to make sense. Now, on a real mundane level, research proves that if you network with people who drink too much, you're more than likely going to what?
Drink
too much. If you socialize with people who are overweight, you're more likely to what?
Be overweight.
Be overweight. Your network, we could also call that your community, has an impact on you, and it cannot not affect you. Yeah. In fact, Christakis and Fowler found, this is kind of similar to 6 degrees of separation. They found that every single person you interact with in your network impacts you at least 3 levels wide. Now, here's how that works, according to Christakis and Fowler from Harvard. Bersabeh and I obviously are married. And so, does your family affect me?
Yes.
Yes, why?
Because they're my family.
Because they affect you.
They affect me.
Her family affects her, and therefore she affects me, and so her family affects me. Mm-hmm. Now, does your nuclear family's extended family affect your nuclear family?
Yes.
Yes. Same concept. The extended family affects the nuclear family, affects Bersabeh, and affects me. Are you getting how powerful this is? What? Now it gets more complicated than that, because if let's just stay in the family for a moment. If your nuclear family has friends, do their friends, and you never interact with their friends personally, do their friends affect you?
Yes.
How so?
Because they affect them.
That's right. The friends of the nuclear family affect the nuclear family, affects Bersabeh, and ultimately affects me. So, Bersabeh, make sure you know,
I've got a long lineage.
yeah, that's an understatement.
Yes.
You know, you don't
We've got
go.
a Persian clan back
You
there.
don't go to a Persian gathering without there being dozens of people there, you know, and for this guy who's not Persian, obviously, you know,
It's a little much.
it's a little much. And to try to remember all the names that are sometimes difficult for me to pronounce, yeah, it's a stretch.
Fun.
And it's fun to say the least. And yet they affect me because they affect Bersabeh and she affects me. And so now the other way goes too. And so it's like dropping a pebble in a pond. The ripples emanate out. And hopefully you're kind of getting a little bit of a sense for how important your network is.
Yep.
Because if you choose unwisely, it will affect you in disempowering negative ways. So choose wisely. Choose wisely. Your community, going back to Christakis and Fowler from Harvard and their research, they say your community influences and drives your influence in the world. What else does it drive?
Your income.
Your income and your impact. Your community, according to research, drives your influence, your income, and your impact. So once again, our encouragement is to choose wisely. We encourage you to take an inventory of your community and your network. And I'll just kind of leave you with this example. One of the greatest choices I believe I ever made, all the way back years ago when I was living in Atlanta, I looked at the network, the community I was hanging out with. Good people, but they weren't going where I was going and they didn't have the same values, but they were good people. And I made a decision I was not going to spend high quantity time, keyword quantity, with people I did not want to be. Now, I didn't literally want to be them, but they had something about them that I aspired to that was common, and they were moving in a similar direction that I was attempting to move in. And you say, well, what if these people were my family? Well, then that's very real, and we have to take that into consideration. And what I would say to you is that, of course, you're still going to love them. I still loved my friends. I just didn't go as frequently, and I didn't stay as long. And so maybe you can consider that. If your community is disempowering you because there is no neutral, then you make a decision, high quantity time, right? So that's a long period of time. So you don't go as frequently and you don't stay as long. Hopefully this has been helpful to you. Next week, we have our second spotlight.
We have a special guest.
We have a very special guest. One of
my favorites.
One of Bersabeh's favorites, our friend and one of my early personal business mentors, Dr. Tony Alessandra. We're going to get into ideas about marketing, into ideas about mentoring, into things that like relationships, which he's really well known for. And so you're going to want to tune in. The Spotlight with Dr. Tony Alessandra next week. God bless you. Lots of love to you. Thank you for your time.
See you next time.
Talk to you next week.